for being here with us today, Soledad.
It's my pleasure, thank you.
We'd love to hear a bit about how was the culture of broadcast journalism different when you started 25 to 30 years ago? And what has changed
To
today?
make me sound so old. But it is 30 years ago this year. I remember early on in my career, people actually thought there were girl stories and boy stories. And I won't tell you who I was working for at the time, but there was a sense that girls did the stories about fashion and boys did the stories about cars. And that's literally verbatim a conversation I had with one of my executives. And I remember thinking, like, what are you talking about? Ironically, I didn't want to do fashion. I wanted to talk about cars, and interview people about cars. And the guy who was my co-anchor was like, actually, I kind of like fashion. We should. But I think there's been a real change and a real transition in some of these really silly stereotypical ideas. And I think that's shifted a lot over 30 years for sure. And I also think as people have had more thoughtful conversations about diversity, the numbers of diverse people in newsrooms has not changed dramatically, but I think it's a more overt conversation than we had 30 years ago, for sure. 30 years ago, if you had a conversation about diversity, literally, you'd almost be laughed out of a room. And I know, I was working my first job in Boston. We just didn't really have those conversations. Today, I think lots of news organizations are very much trying to figure out how to bring more people around the table because they want to figure out how to grow their audience in some capacity. Those are two obvious ways in which things have changed pretty dramatically since I started in 1987.
What's your morning routine and how do you have hacks to get things done?
My morning
tips?
routine is chaos, but actually the advice that we give the young women who attend Powerful, I think, is a lot of the advice that I've sort of figured out over the years, right? Which is, it's all about strategies. So if I want to get up in the morning, I try to work out first thing in the morning because my day just becomes crazy. I try to do Pilates class at 5:30. I try to go do a yoga class, 8 o'clock. So I know my own bad habits. I should get up at 5 o'clock to make my 5:30 class right on time. I will never do that. I'm going to run out my door like everybody else, forgetting stuff. So I make piles to help me know what I need to grab. I set 3 alarms. I always tell them, like, know your own strengths and weaknesses so that you can help yourself in solving some of those challenges. I try to work out in the morning. I try to eat well. I know that if I start my morning with pancakes, then by the end of the day, I am knocking back cosmopolitans. So I start my morning with fruit so that at the end of the day, I have gone to the gym. And I just try to have as many meetings as I can and move our company forward. I travel a lot, so I make sure that I'm really efficient in how I pack and how I travel. I try to eat really well because I know you get in that spiral of eating terribly and traveling a lot, and it really just does not feel good. You're just dragging. So a lot of it's just about how do you help yourself get to where you want to be? And it's the exact same message we have for our young women, right? You are responsible for getting there. Doesn't mean you have to do it by yourself. It means you can say, I need all these people to help me, but you have a responsibility for your own life, and you're responsible for putting people and things in place so that you can be successful.
Great, and you mentioned fruit. What other healthy go-to snacks or foods do you have?
Probably have a longer list of my non-healthy go-to snacks. Swedish fish.
Is that your favorite cheat
Oh my
food?
God! I think if it's cheat food, that means you only have it occasionally. I think it's more like a food group. Healthy-wise, I went to a spa once where they said you didn't have to have breakfast. I don't like breakfast, so I really appreciated that. I've been trying to eat a lot of fish. I don't eat rice. I'm Cuban, so like rice and black beans is my life, but I got rid of the rice and have the black beans. Do a lot of cauliflower, a lot of veggies, just trying to pick the better choice, that if you go through the day mostly making the good choice, that Twix bar that's on the counter over there, that belongs to me, by the way, maybe that won't be so bad. I think it's just about trying to, be smart about it, right?
Absolutely. When you need to be creatively inspired, what do you do?
I think the best way for me to be creatively inspired, because I've got a lot of stuff going through my brain, is to go for a walk, go for a run, go to a yoga class, and kind of just disconnect. I will never, ever be the person. You can't be creative and also running through your to-do list. You can't. You have to disconnect and really just take some time. So I like to take vacations, I like to take breaks, and I like to really just kind of go inward and block out a lot of the noise.
And in the midst of having a busy family, how do you make time for yourself?
I don't. What? Look at my nails. I did them this morning myself. I got my toenails done.
Those look great.
Thank you. I went into a place and I said, I have 15 minutes. She was so nice. She's like, want a massage? I'm like, I have 15 minutes. I got to catch a plane. No, literally, I just squeeze stuff in when I can. At this moment in time, it's not that important to me. It really isn't. I try to do things that I need to physically, physical therapy for my knee, which I've injured, trying to get to the gym. You know, those are the things that I try to get done consistently, but you know, it's just not my time in life yet to be sitting on a beach all the time drinking pina coladas. It's just not where I am, and that's okay. That's not the life that I have. And when my kids were really little and I was running around literally holding twins like this, or, you know, that was that time, and things have come a long way. They now take care of themselves more, they carry their own stuff. It's just a journey and a process, and at some point I'll have lots of time to do every single thing I want to do. I try to carve out moments here and there. I run a startup. It's just not the time and place for me to focus only on me. It's just not going to happen.
Is there any final word that you want to give?
Yeah, I would just say today's event is filled with young women, but also not such young women. Women show up. They really do. They show up to me. This is Saturday. It literally is a Saturday. Everybody who's here has 738 things they could be doing. And they're here to mentor young women who they have never met, who because they want to invest in their lives. It's incredibly powerful, and I'm just so inspired and awed by women who do that. I don't know that I'll ever be able to fully articulate how much I appreciate that, because they're busy. These are busy, busy people, and they always show up for these young women, always.
It's so impressive and inspiring that you and these other women are doing this. Thank you so much, Soledad.
It was my pleasure. Thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. Hey everybody, I'm Soledad O'Brien, and you're watching livestrong.com.